Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are focusing on Trickster Becky Lynch, the GOAT. Personally, one of my favorites. I've always enjoyed using her. This last feud, I would have used her a lot more, but I actually got Z Bianca to 6-star bronze. So I really wanted to test that out. It's kind of a toss-up on which one I'd prefer to use. So we're going to start this off with the belt. Now, my belt is not set up exactly the way I'd want it to be. To be quite frank about it, I want to have Fury 2. I want to go with at least 110% max out on the metals and everything like that. I want that for the gem damage. The reason being is the build I personally enjoy using requires gem damage and a little bit of move damage. Moving forward into 6-star silver, I really truly think her and Z Bianca are going to become the front runners for the best cards to use just because of the gem buff. So what I use on plate is I use the basic plate Twilight Ritual. This kind of helps me a little bit on the reset after I go and do the finisher. It helps to an extent, but you can always go with What the Rock is Cooking. That one works very well along with that. So let's go into the move set. So right now I'm using the inverted DDT, the diving leg drop, and then the Beck's floater suplex. Now I put an emphasis on the purple move damage being 200. I think it's 166% right now. What am I sitting at? Sorry, 159%. But with the takedown 2 medals here, I'm at 199. So almost 200%. The reason I wanted to do that is I want to amplify the finisher just a smidgen. So ideally, how you want to run this, let's check out so we're looking at 6. So it doesn't matter if it's first feud of the month, last feud of the month, tours, it doesn't matter. You're always going to have one MP charger. Go to previous. Now here, you can tinker around with this quite a bit. The reason why I say you can tinker around with it is you can go for move damage, you can go for gem damage. Personally, I'm going to stick with gem damage, which is going to be Roman here for the 7x2 into red. The other part of this, Stacy, obviously. And then you want King Woods as well. If you don't have King Woods, then you can easily switch that out for yet another gem damage increase. So Typhoon here or Hall of Fame Snoop Dogg. You can also go with, I don't know why I am struggling so much with words here. You can go with Captain Lou. You can go with Hall of Fame Trish. I mean, this is where you can play around with it. Personally, I'm a hybrid build kind of person. I enjoy all of my cards being somewhere in between gem damage and move damage. Unless the card specifically requires, Fury. Whereas, Z Bianca. Z Bianca, you can go full Fury, load up the gems, and blow up the board. But her bleed is the main thing for that, so you want to focus bleed trainers. Takedown 2 wise would be DX Army Triple H. I had one this last weekend that absolutely wrecked me in 2 moves, and it destroyed me emotionally. But that's in the past. Why did I not save that? Oh, Lord. Got all caught up in the business. So what we're going to do there, break them. Perfect. Okay. So let's go in. This is one of the reasons why I truly love the new Hell modes. We have options now for 6-star silver or 6-star bronze fights. So we're going to go against Lita. The reason I chose Lita is a very popular pick in female rosters, especially for the people who chased her down. I did not do that. I kind of looked at her and went, meh, she could be better, she could be worse. So you always want to start off with the inverted DDT. Now, I also want to point out here, too, what you can do, and one of the most beneficial things to do in Feud is switch out King Woods for NWO Hogan. He is available in the Showdown shop a lot. So if you can get him to your roster, it'll be more beneficial. There we go. Now we're fully charged. So we're looking at 1.5 off the finisher. It's going to be a slow, painful process here. for the initial at least. And since we don't have to use this now, we're going to keep the board loaded. Now let's see what those traps do, because I have a really bad tendency to not go over what the moves do, and I'm sorry for that. So it's going to do 148 off the rip. It's going to make 36 random gems into trap gems. If broken by your opponent, you deal 114,000 damage. If broken by you, you deal 63,000 bleed damage for 2 turns. So those stack up clearly with all these out here. You create a 3x2 area for purple gems off the diving leg drop, doing 160,000. The finisher right now is sitting at 731,000, and you're breaking a 7x2 area into red gems. So if you can actually get the Bexploder Suplex, if you can get that up to, as high as possible, I'm thinking with 200%, you're you're in this realm at 200% because we are at 200%. But I think if you went full takedown, you can always go full takedown if you really want to emphasize that, but you don't necessarily have to. So we're going to go here because we're going to hit here, here, here. We're hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 exterior along with our 14. So we're hitting 19 at least. That hits there, and the play didn't work out that well. But we're loading up the board. We're getting prepared. If you can keep the trap gems on the board, it becomes a nuisance. The other good thing about this build that I personally find is when I'm facing like a zombie Bianca or someone who's really annoying. I guess we're moved over that far. We can hit here. Don't pin. Okay. I always want to try to avoid the pin as much as possible. If you're going against like a zombie Bianca and stuff like that, the next build I'm going to show you is going to be the best bet for that. I like this build strictly because the damage off of the gem or off the traps generally kills or drops them, knocks them out. I really got to stop using that word. But to me, it makes a bigger impact. I've seen a lot of people prefer this build that I'm about to show you, which is double green, and I believe it was missile dropkick. This is the other build that I've seen a lot of people use, mainly because the submission goes into cross breaks. The trap gems break said cross breaks, and it's all gem damage. So Fury 2 on her belt works with both move sets, luckily. Now, we're not going to get nearly as big an impact off of that purple move, purple move damage, but it still plays a role. Like I said, Becky is very versatile in 2 different setups. You can always go with the leg lariat against like Alondra. A lot of Alondras go triple green. Maybe against a Ronda if they're going green. Something. This is situational. The jumping in Seguri is also situational. It'd be against like a Judgment Day Rhea. These 2 I don't really touch. Personally, they just don't fit my style. So I always stick with this build or this build. So the downside to this build versus the other build, the green moves are 7 MP. So first feud of the month, it'll be a little bit easier to get off because you've upped your offensive perks and the defensive perks aren't too much. So you're going to get plus 2 MP plus the initial 1. So you're going to get the disarmor and the manhandle slam off turn 1 on first feud of the month. Flash feud, depending on what time the feud lands. Like this last one landed in that gray area of the month where not everybody had all the feud perks maxed out. So it was hit or miss on what you went with that one. What you can do is go into the store and on the prize wall, get the Shangos and everything like that to up your MP, down their MP. You can go down that route. Now, a route that I kind of like going with this one, go to previous, I should have them all here. Should. Yep, right there. Okay, so since we're on tour, I'm gonna go with what I would do in feud, even though we're on tour. Is I would set myself up for gem damage across the board. So if you can, one good way to do it, I don't know why I'm still on submission, is you can go with the classic go-to trainer, which would be Slick Rick, doing extra 20%. Go over here to Santa Hogan. And this is also where it kind of gets a little bit fun. You can always go with Cena for the 25% increase on cross breaks, or you can go with, if you have them, MP reduction, which would be Hall of Fame Sheik, Stacy, Khali, King Booker. I think there's a couple of others I'm missing because I don't have them. I think Z Lashley's another one. But one of the things I ran into this last feud, which kind of made me sad when I fought it, but it also made me really happy to see it, was a buddy of mine's name, or his name's Heck. He's in Woken, I think. But I went up against him, and every single card he had an MP reducer on it. It was annoying, but it worked out so well. So, for him. For me, I was in a struggle for a very long time. So for this one, I guess this fourth slot is open for interpretation. So I guess kind of what I want to do here, you can always go with green. You can make more green. So going with Z-Ray here if you have them, which I think I will. I'll put my Z-Ray on here. But you can also go generation. You can do Powerhouse Hogan. That doesn't apply. That doesn't apply. Let's go with gem damage. Getting Santa. You can go with someone like Showboat Lacey, who has purple and green. I mean, there you go. You can go with that one to increase those. You can go with, like I said, Cena. Cena would be a good one because his is cross breaks. Right? Yeah, cross breaks do 25% more. You're not going to get the generation off of that because it is the submission in and of itself. Or you could also go with, you can, I don't advise it, but you can. Is you can go with, blanking on names here. You can go with Bruno. You can always do the extra submission damage with the one more turn. The problem with the one more turn is it turns into 5 now. So that gives the opponent one more turn to break more of your gems. So I don't highly recommend it, but it is an option. So we're going to go into this fight with this build. And again, Fury 2 or Fury, whichever one is available to you, does work very well on her for both builds. This is more of the lockdown. Now let's look at the moves here. This submission generates 16 random submission gems, doing 163,000 damage for 4 turns. Remaining submission gems turn into cross breaks. Trap gems. You lay down 36 trap gems. If broken by your opponent, do 107,000 damage. If broken by you, destroy 6 randoms. So I'm going to try it this way first, because my worry is with how many of those are going to make, they're going to cover up the cross breaks. So I'd much rather the cross breaks cover up the trap gems than anything else. And I'm also getting a little bit of extra damage with her breaking those gems or those trap gems in the process. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to do a little swipey swipe here. And now see, now we're in the ideal position. And this is where the AI has a tendency to become very, very, very annoying. Is what the AI is going to do is they go and hit here. This is from my recollections. Now, this experience is different for all of you. By all means, tell me. But the AI has a tendency to hit the traps and then hit the submission, loading up that board, causing the most damage. Yep. And then you're going to take your missile drop kick. Now, I want to avoid covering up the purples. So I'm hitting everything that is not purple. Purple, green, because you can't, because it's generating. I think we broke the game. Oh, I think we broke it. All right, guys, we are back in the fight. I cannot believe we broke the game. Okay, so what I did in that brief intermission was I switched out Zombie Ray for Showboat Lacey. I don't know what I did there to break the game, but clearly something bad happened. So we'll go there, we'll break all those. There we go. So we're kind of sitting pretty good on damage wise. 1.2 million is not bad, and we're in consistent control of what exactly she's doing. Now, the problem with this build is, as with all submission builds, if your opponent has the sub break plate, this is not going to go well. This is one of those ones that you need to switch it out for the other build. If Miss Becky here is the way to go, or is the way you have to go. So we'll go there, and then we're just going to scatter these around a little bit. That way, initially we're hitting these three, which are going to break all the traps, but we're having the green out there. Given the fact that the game broke because I decided to link it all together, we're going to try to avoid that. So we'll go there. Now everything's loaded. We still have green out there. We're still good. And we're still hitting for about 1.4, 1.5. And see how she's charging up pretty good? And we're getting close to that stun lock capability, but we're consistently keeping it at bay. Like I said before the game broke on the last one, you really want to set up to where you have as much purple and green on the board as possible so you can keep this consistent rotation. Now, this is not by any means a fast build. This is by no means a way to quickly get through feuds. This, to me, is a setup that just screams, I want to annoy every single person that I fight. And to be honest, it has caught me off guard a few times to where I force closed my way out of the game and had to start back over. I mean, once the AI gets locked in and the moves are constantly charged, the AI is going to make sure that the opponent is locked in. It's like a stun lock of sorts. And I truly appreciate it. I do love Becky. I think she's one of the best cards in the game. One of the best. Not the very best, but still one of the best. So again, we're keeping with the same pattern here. We're making sure stuff's getting covered that needs to be covered. If you can go cover up loot gems, that'll be the best bet. It's gonna keep you consistent on damage at least. And that plate is still paying off. Now we hit almost 2. So, I mean, it's a slow build. I guess another thing you could do, I mean, I don't highly recommend it, but it is a possibility, is you could throw on the Seamus plate. If you're going to go down this build, if you're going to go this route, go the Seamus plate, because the submission's still going to trigger the Seamus plate. So your move damage is going to get increased, and then red gem damage, it kind of helps. Kind of-ish, a little bit. Not a whole lot. But either way, this is my backup build. A lot of people go with this build as their initiation build. A lot of people find success with this because of the consistency. And the fact that it's a control. I guess the way I kind of want to look at this is her 2 builds are viable for who you have. Now, I think we did about roughly the same amount of damage. Let's go back and go. We know what damage was done with this. We're sitting at about 1.4, 1.5. We did hit 2 million towards the end there. I'm kind of curious as to how much damage this is going to do initially. Now, my concern, and this is a concern, is she's going to get that stun lock off. And now that I've said that, the universe is going to prove me correct. So I want to save this, so that way I have my loadout ready to go. Always use the loadout system. Trust me, it saves time, it saves headaches. You're not sitting there searching for everything, even though the previous bar, or the previous category here, allows for you to quickly pick certain things. If you set your loadouts, you're golden grams. So we're going to save that loadout too. So we have option A and option A, option B. I personally think this is very beneficial. I like this change. So let's go back in against this to see which one's faster. Now, I could have been mistaken. This is the reason why I love doing these analysis videos, is I get mistaken a lot. I find out through doing all of this for you guys that the build that I prefer necessarily isn't the best one because I'm taking the time to actually break it down. Which is another reason why I say in a lot of my stuff that you guys should take the time to learn your cards, play them in the new tours. I mean, go hog wild. Okay, so we're looking at 1.7 there plus the bleed. So again, this one does the most damage. But the reason why I prefer this one the most too is because that finisher goes off. So it turns into a 2-turn kind of thing, or 2-move kind of deal. Now, obviously, we're getting rid of purples because we're covering up a lot of the board, but we're also recharging because of that plate. And we're back down 1.5 and kick out. Now, in feud, this is another situational thing. So, Lita is built this way. I have not seen a Lita built any other way than this one. So that being said, going into feuds, if Trick Becky is your wild card and everything like that, if you want to go with this build because it's a little bit faster, in my opinion, it's a little bit faster because you're not going through the submission turns, you're not cycling through and everything else like that. And the damage to it is once I get the Fury 2 completely set up on here, it's going to be a lot faster. So I'm going for speed here. But that's where the props come in. Bring in props. Props are easily accessible now where they used to not be. You can get them on the prize wall every single week, and they're cheap. Get those, bring them in, make sure that you are set up for defense. The best kind of defense is a good offense. If you have your great offense, then you use the props for your defense. There you go. You're balancing it out. So that's the end of this video. Becky, like I said, is truly the GOAT. I've seen a lot of people gain success from her, and I've watched a lot of rosters jump up just because they took her to 6-star bronze and they were able to carry themselves through female feuds, through the tours, through... I think she was actually used in the female boss battle. She was used in the female boss battle. This build right here was the female boss battle. I think the only thing that switched out was Roman got switched out for either Gender or Dakota Kai, and King Woods, or no, Tech Stacy wasn't new damage. It was King Woods and Steamboat, Acro Steamboat. Those two made a difference. She carried a lot of the bonus cards, so she's very versatile. So if you have her, take her up. And this, I have no idea how to do an intro anymore. That's the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications when my new videos drop. And as always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, show love. The world is too hard. Let's make it a kinder place. We'll see you in the next video.